Hey guys, what is up? It is Alex here, bringing a race preview for the 2012 Italian Grand Prix. Now, I thought I'd use this replay camera for something a little bit different to see what it actually is like in an F1 car, because it's quite complicated. If we look at the mirrors on this car, it's kind of crazy having them so far up in the air. And I just thought I wanted to have a different view for once, and I normally have like the replay camera or just like the normal T-cam, but I thought this would be a little bit different for this episode. We'll have a look from this view. I think it's a bit nicer to watch. But yeah, that's just about the gameplay. You can see in the background, it's nothing special, and it's a bit weird at the end, but whatever. I want to talk about the Italian Grand Prix 2012. It's going to be a really good race because D'Ambrosio is back, and for one race, replacing Grosjean. They confirmed it earlier today, and I'm so excited to see him back because he is a really good driver to watch. I really liked watching him in the Virgin. He could actually keep up with Glock in pretty much every circumstance, and in some races he's even better than Glock. So I think if they can get the setup right with D'Ambrosio, he's probably on sort of course for a maybe points finish. Sadly, I don't think he's going to have a podium, but I think definitely with that Lotus car, they've got the chance of getting some points, some solid points. Probably about 6th, 7th, I'm thinking, for D'Ambrosio, and I think also Raikkonen probably could do quite well around here. But let's start off with a different team first, the team that is leading the championship, and that is Ferrari, their home race. They're coming here with a lot of expectations. Boy, if you look at Spa, Massa finished 5th with a car which really didn't look that great. And if Massa could do 5th in that car, what do you think Alonso could have done? I certainly think he could have got 2nd. I don't think anyone could have caught Button this weekend or last weekend. I think Button had it all wrapped up personally, but I think the one person in which would have been able to beat Vettel and the rest of them would have been Alonso, because the car didn't seem great in qualifying, but over the race I think it would have been quite good. Massa proved that they had pretty decent race pace, setting I think the second fastest lap time, third fastest lap time, something like that. He was definitely up there in the lap times at the end. And I think with Alonso in that car, obviously you get a few more tenths out of it. So I think Alonso would have been right up there with Vettel or so. And if you think about it, Vettel wasn't really that far ahead of the rest of them. I mean, Raikkonen, Hulkenberg, Massa, I'd say it was only about 15, 16, I don't know, 20 seconds, something like that between them all. So I think Ferrari would have a decent chance around here. They're obviously their home Grand Prix. They're going to have a lot of hype from the crowd. They're going to have a lot of energy. Both the drivers, I think, are hopefully going to do well. Didn't turn out great for them last year, even though Alonso got a good start. Massa, I think, got hit turn 1 by Webber. Not too sure. I think that's what happened. But it's definitely hopefully going to be a good race for Ferrari, because it's always nice to see a home team winning at home. But let's move on to McLaren and Red Bull. Let's start off with McLaren because they seem to be on the fastest car, or have the fastest car at the moment. I personally think they probably will win this weekend, only because they're dominant around Belgium or Spa, and these are pretty similar courses if we think about it. They've got a lot of high speeds, but this doesn't have as many fast corners, so that might be a thing where the Red Bull in particular really had strong points in recent years, I suppose this year as well. But that's where the Red Bull is pretty strong, and as well the Lotus. So I think the two cars are actually going to go for the win in this. It's probably going to be the McLaren and the Ferrari, but we'll see. We'll see in the race. It's going to be a good one. But let's talk about Red Bull. They normally don't have great top end speed, and that showed in Spa, with both drivers struggling at the top end of the hill after Eau Rouge and struggling to get any acceleration passes through there. Vettel made some optimistic moves around the outside and the inside into the last chicane, and he pulled that off well. Webber didn't have such a great race, but they're still up there in the championship as Alonso didn't score. They're both up there. Webber's like 8 points behind Vettel. Vettel's 24 points behind Alonso, which means he's within the race margin once again. But I think Alonso's consistent point scores and podium finishes means he's probably going to win this championship still, but that's for another video. Let's move on to another team. As I said, Red Bull probably won't do great this weekend, so let's move on to the other team, Lotus, which is pretty similar to the Red Bull really. It's not fast in a straight line, it's got a good cornering around fast corners, pretty much really got the characteristics of a Red Bull now, and I'd say they're pretty similar in pace. Grosjean seems to wipe out a lot of the field in recent races, so obviously he's out, D'Ambrosio's in, that's going to be good. Can't wait to see how D'Ambrosio fares. I'd actually like to see Grosjean out of that car and D'Ambrosio in, but that's my personal opinion. I'd rather see someone else than Grosjean in that car. He's had a second chance, he hasn't took the opportunity, crashed of 7 out of the 12 races. I think that's the most statistics that I found, that it was 7 out of 12, maybe it might even be more. First lap crashes, even though some of them aren't his fault, you could say, but if you crash 7 out of 12 times in a race at the start of the race, there's a common denominator there. You are the problem sometimes, or at least most of the time, because he's not crashing most of the time out of unluckiness or not being lucky. He's crashing because he's just not got the spatial awareness. Think about this last race weekend in Spa and at Monaco, I think it was, where he took out Schumacher or something like that. But yeah, I think Raikkonen is on course for a decent weekend yet again. He could probably grab a podium if he's lucky. I think it's going to be hard around here for him, as the bigger tenders probably, hopefully, won't get taken out in Turn 1. Because that race wiped out Perez, Kobayashi, he got his side pod out, taken out. And also, Alonso, Hamilton, obviously Grosjean probably wasn't going to fare too well anyway, and Perez, they all got knocked out of that race. And I think Perez, Alonso and Hamilton had a decent chance of getting a podium, which could have taken it away from Raikkonen. So let's move on to the next couple of teams. If we look at Force India, Sauber and Williams, I think really they're going to all fare all right. I mean, Maldonado's got a 10th place penalty. I personally don't think the grid penalty for the jump start's necessary, but that's just a matter of opinion. Obviously the other one where he hit Kovalainen, or was it Glock? I can't remember, one of them, that deserved a penalty, but I don't think the jump start deserves a penalty because he already retired and he didn't really affect the race too much. But yeah, that's for another video as well. I think the Saubers will do well here. I think the Williams will do well. Force India probably will do well as well. So it's going to be a very, very sort of top 10 race. It's going to be, they're all going to be fighting for that points. And I don't know whether that made any sense, but yeah, they're all going to be fighting for the points. I think, yeah, Sauber and Force India and Williams probably going to be fighting from 8th, 9th and 10th, and also Mercedes probably throw them in there as well, so I forgot to talk about them. And Toro Rosso, hopefully they'll do well at their home Grand Prix. I like seeing them back in the points. It's always good to see sort of a back team back in the points. And also we mustn't forget the back 3 teams. I think none of them will get into the points sadly once again, unless there's a big hiccup like there was in Belgium, but they still didn't manage to get points. But yeah, it's going to be a good race. Hope you all enjoyed the video, guys. It's been Alex and I'm out of here. Bye.